In my line of work as a Bible teacher, I am often asked if there are historically accurate books for children, children's picture books. And I usually have to tell people I don't know of very many that combine ethnic authenticity of the time period, correct skin color, eye color, hair type, all of those things, with historically accurate clothing and scenery background materials. I do not see very many, if any at all, children's books that are doing that work that both accurately reflect skin tone and historically accurate clothing, which is why I have started consulting, especially with children's book authors and illustrators, but I also consult with pastors and teachers and other people as well who are interested in historical accuracy. But I love consulting with children's book authors because I get to help them and their illustrators create children's books that are historically accurate. There is one we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to kind of walk through you to give you a sneak peek of the book so you'll see why you want to buy it. But I'm also going to show you what the consulting work I did helped with in this project. So if you're wondering, how could Jessica help me with my project? This can give you some ideas because I can show you what my consulting did as I worked with the author, Jessie Rennekamp, on this book called Call of Rebekah. So let's look at it together. So here we have the first couple pages of the Call of Rebekah. Now, I'm not going to read you the story. I'm here to point out things about it. So her clothing here is historically accurate. I sent Jessie's artist and Jessie a spread of archaeological artifacts that show the types of clothing women in that time period in that region could have worn. And then the artist, the illustrator, designed clothes for the people in this book off of that spread. And you can see that spread here. Here's a sample of some of the images that I sent them for this book. Also, if you look at this picture, you see these domed beehive-shaped houses. I was able to do research on what homes in this region were like around that time period. And this is not what we expected, but these sorts of houses are archaeologically accurate to the time period, which gives a whole different look and feel to the book as a whole. Also see here with Abraham and Rebekah. Abraham's outfit is almost copied from a few archaeological artifacts I sent. So you really get that historical accurate feel to what is going on. The headdresses, the hair, the garments, they are all from artifacts from that period. We talked about the historical context of the time period and what that would have meant for the daily life of Rebekah as she helped with the sheep, as she grew up. Again, here's a really good shot of her dress, and I'll put an artifact. You can see the artifact right next to it, that this dress, a couple different artifacts that the illustrator may have used to inspire their design for Rebekah's dress here. So we talked about the types of things a girl would be doing in the ancient Mesopotamian Haran region and how she would be learning the skills of managing a household, how she's preparing for her role in her family and community, and what specifically do women do in the ancient world? How do they contribute to the house? What does that look like? And then the author and illustrator was able to take those conversations that we had and illustrate the pages of the book. This is Abraham's servant and his garment. You can see here from the artifact I've put up, you can see how the illustrator was again able to take an actual archaeological artifact and modify that for the illustration purposes to bring that real feel of real history into the book. So the entire work that Jessie and her illustrator were able to create has a historic feel to it that many Bible storybooks don't have because they are what I call Bible bathrobe designed. They are primarily going to focus on a generic Bible bathrobe kind of garment, but this is based off of archaeology, not a generic Bible look that we're used to seeing in that we're used to seeing in our Bible storybooks. Now, other things I was able to do as we talked and consulted is talk about what it meant for Rebekah to marry into Abraham's family, how she would be marrying Isaac, the heir apparent, and how he would be the patriarch of this household. She was coming in as the new matriarch because Sarah had died. And that this is a household that has probably over 1,000 individuals in that household, and how significant that was for Rebekah. And then Jessie could take that information, that historical context information I gave, and showcase it in the book for important historical context. This outfit of Isaac's here is very similar to this artifact that I was able to use. They changed the color and some of the fringes, which is totally fine, but you still have the historic vibe. You get the idea of the history behind these texts and cultures. So I just wanted to give you a quick flip through of the Call of Rebekah so that you could see some of what we worked on that went into this book, to see some of the artifacts, see how our conversations revealed more of the ancient world that could then be incorporated into the text of the children's book, in notes on the children's book, and in the storyline and art to give a look and feel that is absolutely biblical, but absolutely grounded in history as well. When our children read scripture, they need to be grounded in the history of the Bible, not a Bible bathrobe fairy tale vibe where we've made up a world that this is what the Bible looked like, except nobody ever dressed like that ever in the history of humanity. That is created fictionally to be the look and feel of children's storybook Bibles, whereas the Call of Rebekah borrows from archaeology, so it is not Bible bathrobe, but artifact-based, and therefore both historically accurate and ethnically authentic. If you are interested in working with me, consulting with me on your project, whether that is a sermon series, a children's book, adult trade book, Sunday school curriculum, Bible study curriculum, whatever you have in mind, send me an email at jessica@wewhothirst.com, and I would love to talk to you about your dreams and how my consulting work can help take it to the next level using historical context and archaeology to bring the Bible to life.